with the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem, I just want to welcome you for today's Sutta study class. It is April 16, which is Saturday evening. We would like to begin this evening Sutta discussion with the special attention to Maharahuluvada Sutta, the greater discourse on of advice to Venerable Rahula. With such a wonderful mind, I know that you also join with us through Zoom and also live stream, and those who join with us YouTube also are warmly welcome. Let us begin this evening Sutta studies with the due respect to the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. Before that, I just want to say a few words about the full moon Foy Day. It is full moon Foy Day for us here in Canada. Already in Sri Lanka and elsewhere in Asia, they have done their Foya duties, Foya program, but we are still in Saturday night, so that we keep this thought in mind that we are having full moon day, and this is the best thing you can do for the full moon day. However, a lot of our friends are busy with long weekends and family matters and related to matters with the long weekend with the family. Anyway, we wish them happiness and peace. May they be able to share their good thoughts with the family and friends in the holiday weekends. Let's begin the Sutta studies with the due respect to the Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times in Pali and also in English. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened one. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened one. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened one. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear friends in Dhamma, it's a pleasure to be with you today. Amidst many activities with the family and friends, you are able to provide this 1 hour and 15 minutes for this Sutta study class, just because you are very interested in learning Dhamma. It does not mean that those friends who do not come to Sutta studies today do not have interest for Dhamma. They do, but they were unable to make it today. Anyway, with those friends in our memory, we just begin the Maharahuluvada Sutta. This is the Sutta number 62 in Majjhima Nikaya. If you want to read the full discourse, either in Pali or Sinhala or in English, so go to Majjhima Nikaya and the section, second section, Majjhima Pali. So you find the 12 Sutta of the second section, and the whole, if you consider the whole Majjhima Nikaya is number Sutta 62. The greater discourse of advice to Venerable Rahula, and there are a number of suttas were delivered by the Buddha as advice to Venerable Rahula Ambalatika Rahuluvada Sutta. Prior to this sutta, we find this Ambalatika Rahuluvada Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya. In the same Nikaya, we have Chula Rahuluvada Sutta in the section 3rd. So Buddha wanted his son, Venerable young Rahula, to understand the deep Dhamma, that is the asset he had in his mind, to give it to his son. So here we see that Venerable Rahula is receiving the gift from the father, which is the excellent one. So this sutta is significant in many ways, including the one I said. If you look at this sutta, you can see how practicable this Dhamma, especially with regard to mindfulness on in and out breathing, anapanasati. So the core of the Buddha's teaching here in this discourse is to emphasize the fact that anapanasati, or the mindfulness of in and out breathing, should be practiced with preparation. You cannot do it without any preparation. If you look at the Anapanasati Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya, you see that it is one of the deepest and widespread meditations in the entire canon. Satipatthana would be one of the key things in entire teaching, but practicing Satipatthana is also included in Anapanasati meditation, and it is been linked to each and every subject. So here the Buddha asked Venerable Rahula to practice Anapanasati after preparatory meditation in numbers, maybe more than, as I remember, more than 11 or 12. So we can read them in the discourse and understand every bit of important information of the sutta with regard to Anapanasati, and things should be done prior to Anapanasati. If there are individuals in the class who did not read the sutta before this class, I would follow reading the sutta for the benefit of them, and also those listeners who come to the YouTube link, so they would benefit from this sutta. We have two translations, basically Bhikkhu Bodhi and also Bhikkhu Tanisaro's translation. I email you the Bhikkhu Tanisaro's translation, so I go with that. I have heard on one occasion, the Buddha was staying at Savatthi at the Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's monastery. Then the Buddha, early in the morning, put on his robes and carrying his ball and outer robe, went into Savatthi for alms. So far, the usual information is there about the Buddha and where the Buddha stays while this discourse was delivered. When Rahula, early in the morning, also put on his robe and carrying his ball and outer robe, went into Savatthi for alms, following right behind the Buddha. Both the father and the son are now on Pindapada round towards Savatthi. Then the Buddha, looking back at Rahula, addressed him, Rahula, any form whatsoever that is past, future, present, internal and external, blatant and subtle, common and sublime, far and near. For any form whatsoever which has these qualities: present, past or future, internal and external, blatant and subtle, common and abnormal or sublime, and far and near. Any form has these 11 qualities. Every form is to be seen as it actually is with right discernment, as this is not mine, this is not myself, this is not what I am. So the Buddha's message is very direct and very clear. He turned to Venerable Rahula, who is coming behind him, and said that, Rahula, whatever rupa, they are all, whether is not mine. You should consider that it's not mine. They are not mine, and this is not, they are not myself, and they are not what I am. So if we put them in a singular form, whatever form which has some 11 characteristic should be considered as not mine, and not myself, and I'm not there. So this is the simple message. I think many of you have heard about this. This is the way we actually avoid or overcome sakkayaditi with regard to form, rupa kanda or rupa. We consider that they are not mine. Nameso hamasmi, nameso netang mama, nameso hamasmi, nameso attati. This is not mine. This is not myself, and this is not what I am. So in this way, Rahula Buddha said, contemplate on rupa. Then Venerable Rahula, is that all, Venerable Sir? Do I need to consider this way only with form, rupa? What about the other thing? Then Buddha said, Rahula, not only with rupa, but also with Vedana feeling, Sanya perception, Sankhara mental formation, and Vijnana consciousness. You consider them as not mine, not myself, and not what I am. So in the summarized version, what we, as just like Venerable Rahula, should think about these 5 aggregates. They are not mine, they are not myself, and I am not manifesting in those 5 aggregates. Then the thought occurred to Venerable Rahula. So Buddha continued his Pindapata round towards Savatthi, but Venerable Rahula stopped there, thinking, and he thought that I am one who got some advice from the Buddha, having been exhausted face to face by the Buddha, would go into town for alms today. I'm a sort of person who got advice from the Buddha directly. So if I go to the city for alms round, it's not good, because I got a special attention from the Buddha, so that I might get this Dhamma advice from the Buddha. I might understand the gist of the Buddha's Dhamma advice. He would have said this to me, thinking that I understand the Dhamma right now and spend time for it. Having Pindapata could even be done tomorrow. If I do not eat today, I'm not going to die by not having just one meal. What about this Dhamma? He might have had some thoughts in his mind when he advised me as the father, as also the Buddha, so that I should stay and meditate for my salvation. That's how Venerable Rahula, young Rahula, thought. Then he sat under a tree over there and started meditation, just like a very experienced meditator. Then when Venerable Sariputta saw Venerable Rahula sitting at the foot of a tree, his leg folded crosswise, his body held erect, and with mindfulness set to the fore. On seeing him, he said to him, now Venerable Sariputta was going somewhere through that path, so he saw Venerable Rahula there. The teacher of Venerable Rahula is the Venerable Sariputta. So because of that relationship, Venerable Sariputta asked Venerable Rahula, develop the mindfulness of in and out breathing. The meditation of mindfulness of in and out breathing, when developed and pursued, is of great fruit, of great benefit. Katang bhavitacha bhikkhave Anapana Sati Mahapala Hoti Mahanisansa. In the Anapana Sati Sutta, and also over here, we have that Pali statement, which way we should develop Anapana Sati in order to get maturity of it and of it, and how do we practice the full form of Anapanasati. Venerable Sariputta said, yeah, it is giving you the maximum benefit of the Dhamma if you practice Anapanasati as it should be. Then that's all Venerable Sariputta said. Then when Rahula, emerging from his seclusion in the late afternoon, went to the Buddha and having bowed down, sat to one side. As he was sitting there, he said to him, "How, Lord, is mindfulness of in and out breathing to be developed and pursued so as to be of great fruit and great benefit? Please tell me, Venerable Sir, the Buddha, the Blessed One, how do I practice Anapanasati meditation to reach the maximum benefit of Anapanasati?" Then we see in the discourse that the Buddha is starting giving the full advice. I think everybody should read this discourse because a lot of people try to meditate on Anapanasati, on Satipatthana directly without having those qualifications, I would say. If you want to do a bachelor's degree or any similar degree, or if you go to college for diploma or certificate of diploma, you have to have some knowledge about what you are going to do. You cannot do any course, academic course, if you do not have that prior experience. So every college, every school will consider the level of study you had before. Similar to that, when you practice Anapanasati or Satipatthana, also you have to gather some experience on the Dhamma by practicing Sila and also some sort of mental purification. You may fail if you go to practice Anapanasati or Satipatthana directly without doing anything. If you look at Ganaka Moggallana Sutta and a few more suttas which I can remember now, these suttas tell the fact that the meditators, whether they are monks or nuns or lay people, they have to practice Sati Sampajanya, Yoniso Manasikara, Sila, Shraddha on the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, giving alms to monks and lay people, and giving a way of your belonging. So, and practicing Metta. These are some of the required practices for somebody to enter into deep practices like Anapanasati and also Satipatthana. For example, some people come for meditation classes. When we conduct meditation classes for average people, they think that they can succeed their meditation within a week or so. However, they fail because either they do not get this full understanding about meditation. However, they know the fact that meditation is giving relaxation. So, and on the other hand, they haven't done those preparatory activities for meditation. So, friends, this sutta is a very important example to show that each and every one of us should practice preparatory meditation to get ready for a long but very important journey in the spirituality to reach to nirvana. So the Buddha here is very clear. Venerable Rahula was advised by the Buddha like this. Then Rahula, any form whatsoever that is past, future and present, internal, external, blatant, subtle, common, sublime, far and near. Atita, Anagata, Vartamana, external and internal and external, Ajjatta, Bahidda, blatant and subtle. What are the Pali word for this? Dureva, Santikeva, that is near and far, and Olarika Sukuma, blatant and subtle, and common and sublime. I just remember. Okay. So if I remember these Pali words, I would say, so any form belongs to the past or the future or present. Any form which has these qualities such as internal or external. Some forms are internal, some forms are external. and some are very subtle, some are very gross, some are very some are very refined, some are very not gross, and near and far. These are the characteristic features of rupa khandha. So whatsoever form whatsoever, they are to be seen as it is with right discernment. Yatabhuta jnana dasana. Here we talk about you have to see those rupa khandha with right knowledge, which means the presence of samaditi. So in other words, you look at the aggregates of form or rupa khandha with yoniso manasikara or with samaditi, so that what kind of understanding or experience you get. This is not mine, netang mama. This is not myself, nameso hamasmi, and this is not what I am, nameso attati. If you look at the rupa khandha, rupa, in this way, what you understand at the end is, this is not mine, this is not myself, this is not what I am. Right? That's the reality of each form. So, but having said this, there are these 5 properties, Rahula. Which 5? The earth property, Patavidhatu, the water property, Apodhatu, the fire property, Tejodhatu, the wind property, Vayodhatu, and the space property, Akasadhatu. Venerable Rahula was advised with regard to form, and now Buddha talks about the 5 elements. Friends, there is a direct connection between the rupa khandha and also dhatu, because in the Kajjaniya Sutta and suttas where 5 aggregates of clinging are defined, Buddha clearly said that what is rupa? Tachunanta mahabhutanang chattarocha mahabhutanang chatunnancha mahabhutanang upadaya rupa. That is how the Buddha defined rupa. The 5 for 4 elements and also derived 4 elements. So that is how, that is what the rupa. So here the rupa is not mine, not myself, and not what I am there. I'm not in the form. How do we define form? They are made up of 4 great elements. Here, one is added as space element, because in this body, if we regard this body as a form, there is space element in between nose, the tunnel of the nose, in the mouth, inside the body, we have a space, in the ear, and so forth. So Buddha explained these things to Venerable Rahula, that you have to consider them as not mine, not myself, and not what I am. Then in the discourse, you see the Buddha define the 5 elements in details. We'll look at one thing so that you can understand the other thing, because the same pattern is going on in the discourse. What is the earth property? Buddha said the earth property can be either internal and external. What is the internal earth property? Anything internal, anything within oneself that is hard, solid, and sustained by, sustained. What are these body parts that basically from earth elements, starting from head hair, body hair. There are 20 body parts that describe the Patavidhatu. Kesa, Loma, Naka, Danta, Chato, Mansang, Naharu, Atti. Those are the body parts that represent the Patavidhatu. The nature of them is solid and hard and solidified. That's why they are considered as Patavidhatu. So you can read them in the discourse. This is called the internal earth element. So when you consider each of these 20 body parts out of 32, you have considered the internal earth property. What do we say? What do we reflect with regard to these internal earth elements? They are not mine. They are not myself. They are not what I am. Right? That is how you should think. For example, if you consider the head hair, so in an average person, he or she thinks this is beautiful, so he goes to the mirror and make it nice, and himself or herself think that I am beautiful because of my haircut and so forth. But for a wise individual, it is not nothing but the earth property. So when you consider any body parts as earth property, you are not going to show them up as beautiful or ugly. You are not going to create any attachment, any craving, any anger over any such body parts, because you consider them as a part of this body, or with regard to the teaching here, it's only an element, right? So that is how the noble teaching regards with the body parts. So this is called the internal earth property. Now, both the internal earth property and the external earth property are simply earth property. What are the external earth property? Everything else that we can see here. I see your names. In the computer is in front of me, the iPad and the cupboard, the Buddha statue. We have given different names for the purpose of identification to we have given names to those objects for the purpose of identification. However, what is the truth of them is the earth property, water property, heat, air, and space. That's all. And Arahant understand things in such a way, whereas ordinary people put names and either attach or detach from them or fight with them. But for Arahants, they are only certain objects which has identification made by 4 great elements, and that understanding for Arahants is automatic, so that there is no any confusion happen to them, because their understanding is firm and certain. So friends, so we know that there are internal and external earth property with regard to the body, and also something out of the body. That should be seen as it actually is present with right discernment. This is not mine, this is not my, this is not mine, this is not me, and this is not myself. When one sees it thus as it actually is present with the right discernment, one becomes disenchanted with the earth property and makes the earth property fade from the mind. So the significant things happen at the end of this analysis. What is that? Before you were expecting certain things, and you like certain things, having seen flowers, having seen beautiful people, having watched a teledrama or movie, you like them so much, you dream to have them in your possession. But with regard to this reflection, you were able to practice, this is not mine, this is not me, this is not myself. Now it's been trained very well, so that those so-called pleasant objects are now not that pleasant for you. You consider them as only impermanent object, so that you are not going to attach to anything, nor you do you fight with anything. So you stay away from these two extremes, so that disenchantment, nibbida, one of the important status of mind of someone who get closer to nirvana happens. He doesn't want to enjoy anything anymore like the average people. He sees things as they are. When one sees things as they are, the quality he or she receives is called nibbida. No, nothing is there to enjoy at all. So with regard to earth property or the Patavi Dhatu in the body, you do not have anything to enjoy. I think even without anything else, with this teaching, many people might be away from a lot of problems. When you go out, it's so hot or so cold. If before that, if you had practiced this Patavi Dhatu meditation or meditation on earth property, you would be able to less worry and worry-free mind even in the hot and cold weather, because you know that this is a combination of this cold weather is Patavida Tejo Dhatu, and it you know it is this body that welcome it, and the cold and heat weather, warm weather is nothing but the combination of these elements. So it is true, conventionally it is true that your body is burning with the hot sun and also cold weather, but you have that understanding in mind strongly to bear that pain, so that you would be able to control certain levels of physical energy there because of the powerful mental energies. So even the Buddha and those meditators stay longer outside in the cold weather or hot weather because of that mental training. So I think you understand why the Buddha asked us to practice meditation or mindfulness on earth elements, and later water elements, fire elements, and air elements, and space element, because these are the nature of this body. And if you consider your body as a combination of here 5 elements, and see they are not mine, they are not me and myself, you have done the duties to the Dhamma. You have overcome the Sakkaya Ditthi into a greater extent, because the wrong view about self begins with the idea that I exist. I am here. I'm the superior person. I'm the one who did everything. So this is Sakkaya. This is how Sakkaya Ditthi come out with some ideas. But if you consider and meditate on this is not my mine, this is not I, this is not myself, with regard to all the sources of Sakkaya Ditthi, how could you have this idea that I am so and so? That notion called Ditti, wrong view, is gone. So friends, similar to that, you need to meditate on what elements. As I said, 20 body parts out of 32 is uh, earth elements, and the rest of the 11 or 12 body parts belongs to water elements. So with regard to apodhatu or water property, you need to practice the same thing. This is not mine, this is not me, and this is not myself. So when you do that, again the nibbida is arising in you. It's called disenchantment. In a simple term, I would explain it again. Nibbida is such that you don't enjoy pleasant feeling anymore as it is. When you have unpleasant feeling, for example, pain, you are not accepting that pain as it is. For example, suppose you have fever, the muscles are painful, and the body is so unpleasant. If you have nibbida quality in your mind, you are not worrying about this pain in the body. You could be able to bear that pain with equanimous mind, so that your mind is uplifted into a peaceful state, even with that physical pain, because nibbida has arisen in your mind. Nibbida is not enjoying pleasant feeling, sukha vedana as it is, and dukkha vedana as it is, and adukkha sukha vedana as it is. That's what, since many of you are from a Pali tradition or Sinhala tradition, I would use this word, Nibbida, Nirvinda, Nirvede. So, which means that no feeling, no reactions to any feeling is happened over there with disenchantment or Nibbida. So, it comes to us when we see things as they are. We have to understand us with regard to 5 aggregates. In other words, we understand our body and mind as elements, so that you don't see a particular being existing without any change. With this understanding, I'm not going to worry about pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, and neutral feeling, because the reactions to those 3 types of feeling has been frozen into a greater extent, so that you are just like a very experienced noble person. I am not saying that you haven't you have already attained to those enlightened state, but you are very near to it with disenchantment. So with regard to fire property, with regard to wind property, with regard to space property, the same lines should be practiced. This is not mine, this is not me, this is not myself. Yeah, this is not mine, this is not me, this is not myself. So I suggest here not to do it in a abnormal way. Sometimes people used to say that oh, it's not myself, it's not me, it's not mine. That is how the Buddha said. You don't need to verbalize it to somebody else. You don't need to say it by words, open gathering. Just keep these 3 lines as thoughts in your mind. Suppose you go to a party tomorrow, okay? So you see some people drinks alcohol and dance, and they are like very average humans. So when you see this, you're not going to go to those people and say that Buddha has said, this is not mine, this is not I, this is not myself. So that's how I think. Suppose somebody come and offer you some liquor or anything illicit for moral principle. So you're not going to boast that you practice them in such a way so that you simply reject it. I don't take it, because those people who do not know about this kind of training would think that you are not fitting for any relationship. So my suggestion is to keep the relationship if possible, and make them aware that this is what I believe, this is what I experience from my meditation, from my Dharma learning. This is why I'm not taking these things. I do not see any significance of sensual pleasures anymore, because I have seen something beyond that. My pleasure is not because of sensory enjoyment. My pleasure is beyond that. I have seen something deep, so that my mind is always happy when I see the changes of properties, changes of elements with regard to my body and everyone else, so that I'm not enjoying those things anymore. You're not saying these terms openly in an abnormal way, but keep it in mind, and take the summarized version of them always out if you want to share. Because I have seen some people are not doing that, and their way of behavior in a public is not normal, because they always criticize other people and so forth. But I know that you understand what I'm saying. So just boil this Dhamma down into your mind and mix them with your experience, so that if they come automatically into application. So friends, Buddha talks about the 5 elements in the discourse, and after that, the Buddha turned Venerable Rahula's practice into a very special stage. This is what the Buddha said. Rahula developed the meditation in tune with earth. So now Buddha explained or define the 5 elements in details. And now he is asking Venerable Rahula to tune his mind to the earth elements. For when you are developing the meditation in tune with earth elements, with agreeable, which is agreeable, disagreeable, sensory impression that have arisen will not stay in charge of your mind. So when you in tune your mind with the earth property, you understand that there are agreeable and disagreeable things happen in your body, in your mind, so that you consider that they are not mine, they are not myself, and they are not I in the earth property. Just as when people throw what is clean and unclean on the earth, so many things are there: blood, urine, various things. The earth is not horrified, humiliated, disgusted by it. The simple explanation in this section is that we put various unpleasant things to the earth. All the garbage, excrement, urine, and all the filthy things are put into the earth. But the earth never complains that I cannot hold these bad things just because I don't like. No, we don't have any complaints from earth property. Similar to that, Venerable Rahula, consider the earth property in your body, and when something wrong happened to those internal earth properties, do not blame anyone, yourself, or any principles. Just bear in mind that this is the nature of earth elements within. Just like the soil, just like the earth never complains for putting bad things, right? The carpet you walked on, the mats you use for cleaning your feet, never complain for muds and dust and sands you left over carpets. So in the literature, in Buddhist literature, also in Sri Lankan literature, we are asked to be like carpets. We always put our shoes away and clean our feet, and the carpet is holding all this garbage without any complaint. So when you become humble person, when you become so nice and pleasant and gentle, you are not worrying about anything bad people say, anything good people say. You have equanimous mind. So when you in tune your mind to earth property, what the Buddha said to us to do is to consider all these pleasant and unpleasant, agreeable and disagreeable things as occurrences to the earth elements, not me. If you consider it happens to me, you have already created either attachment or hatred with ignorance. But if you consider this is only earth property, you have cut off the way to attachment and hatred or ill will. Suppose you meditate on the skin. Okay, the largest bodily organs of living beings, the skin. So now you consider this is unpleasant, uncertain, impermanent, anicca, and cannot be considered as mine. So that I do not show up myself with the clear and clean skin. So it's a matter of understanding now you deal with. So suppose you have you walk on the road near the busy road, and a vehicle goes fast by, and your skin becomes dark because of carbon and other elements those vehicles release to the atmosphere. So now you become so unhappy. If you did not have this understanding that this skin is a fragile, impermanent object, You're going to be worried. You feel upset. You feel embarrassed in front of people. But if you have that understanding, yeah, you become calm and compassionate. Your approach to any situation is manageable because you have that understanding. This is not mine. This is not me. This is not myself. Nemes netang mama nemeso hamasmi nemeso attati. So that is how the Buddha asked Venerable Rahula to intune his mind towards each properties: wind property, water property, and heat property, and also space. What is this space property? As I said, it is the space or rooms inside the body, and in the stomach we have space property, and holes in the ears and the nose we have space property. Now between the two jars inside the mouth you have space property. So between myself and the computer also is a space property which is external. Bahira Akash Dhat. So with regard to your body, because everybody has to do this, everybody should come to this understanding despite the meditation subject you take in for salvation. Suppose you practice metta meditation. True, you take your mind into samadhi, and if you go to further on the same line you practice, you have to consider this body as only elements. So the channel you take to go into samadhi would be different, but once you receive samadhi, you have to practice vipassana, either by saying this is earth elements, space elements, water elements, and these are skandhas, these are sense bases, and so forth. So friends, everybody should know this teaching just to let go of sakkayaditthi, just to let go of those immoral activities you do, and just to get ready with the sila and samadhi for a deep journey into culmination of enlightenment. So everybody has to do it. So now I move on to next important section of the sutta. So Buddha explained the 5 aggregates, and he asked Venerable Rahula to practice non-self theory and anicca dukkha anatta with them. Basically, cutting off of sakkayaditthi is the point. Then Buddha defined the 5 elements, and he said how to tune our mind into 5 elements. Now, having said that, the Buddha continues. Rahula, develop meditation of goodwill. What is that? It is metta meditation. For when you are developing the meditation of goodwill, ill will be abandoned. So in order to overcome dosa, anger, hatred, or ill will, you practice metta. The direct antidote for anger is metta. We can overcome anger by doing other meditations too, but the distance is too long. For example, you are an angry person. You get angry by even minor things. So you never practice metta, but you practice anapanasati, or you practice the perception of impermanence, anicca sanya. It's true that you can overcome or reduce anger first into a greater extent and overcome it, but the time you spend for it longer, because none of them are direct antidotes or remedies for anger. The direct and very practicable medicine for anger is metta. Is that metta a remedy for anger? No, it is a complete training with many implications. When you practice metta, you also have the chance of developing mudita, upekka, and thought of impermanence. Non-self is also developing. Sakkayaditthi is broken into pieces with metta because you consider you and others are equal. There is no separation between you and everybody else with the results of metta. because you have that friendliness in your mind. Universal, limitless friendliness is achieved with metta meditation, so that not only anger is gone, but also related unwholesomeness is gone, and sakkaya ditthi is being shattered there. So, but metta meditation is considered in the entire Theravada tradition is as the direct antidote for dosa or anger. So Venerable Rahula was advised by the Buddha to develop the meditation on goodwill or metta just to overcome anger, just to overcome ill will. So when you have anger, your will is become ill. That's why we call ill will. Then Buddha said, develop the meditation on compassion. For when you are developing the meditation of compassion, cruelty will be abandoned. Cruelty, hinsa. Sometimes we feel to hurt others for no reasons. Sometimes we feel anger with Russians. These days, a lot of people are angry with Russians. They are not related to those problems. But considering the situation that Ukrainian experience, they have cruelty, they have anger, type of retaliation in their mind with regard to Russian. I think according to the Dhamma, we are not afraid to say that if you follow the right Dhamma, you're not having any anger over Russians, no any upset feeling with any other party. You consider them as only incident that happens to human when they have greed, hatred, and ignorance. That is how the Buddha analyzed things, right? You are not taking any side, but you see the fallacy of human minds when anger, hatred, ignorance are invaded. What happened to people with this unwholesomeness is shown with these global issues, right? So that is how you analyze. With karuna practice, you are going to abandon cruelty and develop the meditation on appreciation, mudita. For when you are developing the meditation on appreciation or mudita, resentment will be abandoned. So it's a very special point. Many people think that they know metta, karuna, mudita, upekka, but I would say that many people do not know. But some people do it well with their right meaning. Friends, mudita is not only being happy when you see the success of others, but how about someone who is meditating in the forest and no one is in close association? Doesn't he or she practice mudita? We don't need any particular person behind us, close by us to practice these 4 Brahma Viharas. Then what is mudita? Mudita is coming when metta, karuna, and also upekka come into application. So suppose you are kind and compassionate for everyone, and even animals, even you use those material things with compassion and kindness for others, so that even if you do not get things as you wish, you are satisfied with whatever you have, because you have that essence of mudita, equanimity, upekka, and you have already been in the process of loving kindness and also compassion. So mudita is not only being happy over somebody else's success, you also see some sort of humble qualities in your mind when you see your progress. When you see downfalls in your practice, you are not worrying about that as well, because you say that there are other ways to refill it, so that you have sense of mudita, type of appreciation about your own activities is there always. So mudita is being spreaded within the 3 other Brahma Viharas, and mudita is not practiced alone. According to Paticcasamuppada formula, mudita and other 3 qualities are mixed together, intertwined so that they are coming with the support of others. So Venerable Rahula was advised to practice mudita. How many of us take this mudita or upekka or karuna as meditation subject? Very less, I would say. Everybody practice only metta, and according to what people practice and how people practice, it's not clear whether people reach to each stages of metta also. But people are, when we say people, including monks, people are lacking of experience of those meditation. But we as individuals should find the way of practicing this meditation, mudita, karuna, and also upekka. So we quickly go to upekka also. Develop the meditation on equanimity or balance of mind, or upekka. For when you are developing the meditation of equanimity or upekka, irritation will be abandoned. Irritation, type of disturbed mind is gone. We are irritated by various things. Sometimes people say that, Bhante, how can we practice meditation when all these issues at home are there on our shoulders? Some people take those social, national, and global level problems into their mind, and they are irritated by those things. And TV, social media are some sources of irritation. So basically, your mind is not centered here and right now when you feel the opposite of upekka. But if you have upekka, you are inclined into the peace of mind, well supported by loving kindness, compassion, and also sympathetic joy or appreciation of mudita. So when you have equanimity, you can bear any upset feeling. Suppose you are criticized by somebody in public and you are not shaken by that. And you gain some appreciation by your teacher, by your colleagues, and you got some gift, token of appreciation. So you directly see how your mind take it. Is there any sakkaya ditthi building on over this appreciation, or are you failing your from your mental peace when you hear those particular words? So you are checking your own mind when you hear those appreciation or otherwise. With upekka, you are undisturbed by anything. So Venerable Rahula was advised by the Buddha to practice those things. I think I should stop here because I know many of you need to speak about the sutta so far. So we can take the rest of the discourse next week. Where Buddha talks about the real meditation as Venerable Rahula requested. So what so far Buddha is explaining the step-by-step practices to make Venerable Rahula ready for complete Anapanasati meditation. So Venerable Rahula was advised to think about himself as elements and practice, this is not mine, this is not me, this is not myself. And now he has the knowledge about the 4 elements, 5 elements with regard to his body. And now he is being trained by the Buddha to practice meditation on metta, meditation on karuna, mudita, and upekka. These are the things we so far discussed, and the floor is open for you to speak. Any idea, any additional teaching support this teaching, or your questions are welcome. Is there anyone who would like to share anything?
He's not there.
Is there anyone who would like to say something? We do not have Dr. Pial today. I think he's busy, but we have other friends. If you want to share your insights with regard to Maharahula Vada, the advice to Venerable Rahula, it's very nice that the father is advising his son to reach the maturity of enlightenment. How many fathers today do this? Then there is no such environment for many people to do that, because of the way many people do. At least if you speak about certain ethical principles, that would be really nice, because everybody experience old age. Those younger people today would be elderly people in 20 years, 30 years, so that they would be fathers or grandfathers then. So giving such advices to your grown son and daughters now would be helpful for them to deal with the those issues they experience in life. Anyway, if you do not have anything to share, let me continue on certain things. Have we focused those meditation, metta meditation, and meditation on karuna and mudita upekka very much as a preparations to vipassana meditation? I think, in my opinion, we should be doing that. If you look at the Meghiya Sutta in Anguttara Nikaya, in Khuddaka Nikaya, where the Buddha advised Venerable Meghiya to gather some spiritual energy before the meditation for enlightenment. He clearly said that many people as Shravaka should have these qualities. Because when you go to a forest monastery where there is no any human interaction except meditation and also monastic activities with similar people, you have a lot to bear yourself. In our way of living, we always share our things. We just call friends and send emails and go to social media and look for even good things like sermons and reading on different subjects. So we have so many things to rely. But when you are in the deep forest monasteries, you are not having those things. You should have the mental strength to be isolated, to be alone, and without any problem should focus your mind. Otherwise, you would be very upset in the forest. So in order to meditate on those vipassana techniques, you have to have compassion for you. You should have other important qualities with regard to these teaching, so that you bear that pain. No, for people could be there for you to talk for weeks, but you are provided with alms and medicine and water, but nobody talks except emergency purposes, and people do not come and worship you and have a chat about politics and this and that. So you are rely on those principles. So I think I have seen this, and I have been in forest monasteries for a period of time. You have to have such a strong mind in order to make your mind centered on the deep Dhamma. You have to practice metta into a greater thing, and also other meditation, right? So I think as lay people, it's not that difficult for you, because many duties and responsibilities are on your shoulder to perform for your sons and daughters and grandsons and friends, so that the ways to impure your mind are very much. So in order to protect your mind from those hustle, bustle, busy nature, you have to practice these preparatory meditation. So I see Vikum has raised his hand. If you unmute your mic and speak, that would be very good. I do not hear you. Please unmute.
Yes. Ante, this is not directly related to today's study, but during previous occasions, I remember you have mentioned about 3 steps of Anapanasati, but you have not elaborated much on the 3rd step. May I ask you to explain that a little bit?
Yes, we haven't come to the Anapanasati section in the Sutta yet, because we are still dealing with preparatory meditation for Anapanasati, but I would take your questions, as a very good thing. And yeah, in Anapanasati, I think there are different levels of it, different steps. When we talk about Anapanasati in the full form, we see that it has 32 single steps. And then if we speak in the Anapanasati, in the framework of Anapanasati, there are 32 individual steps. And if we couple them, it's 16. And these 16 steps are being categorized into 4 under the basis of 4 foundation of mindfulness, Satipatthana. So this is the basic structure of Anapanasati. But before we come to Anapanasati, there are different things we could do depending on the character type, because Anapanasati is applicable for each characters. Saddha, Buddhi, Vitarka, Lobha, Dvesa, Moha. These are the 6 character types that Buddhist psychology talks about. So Anapanasati is good for everyone, but some people should work hard with other meditation subject to come to this Anapanasati. If they do it, they can easily go through each step of Anapanasati, which means you complete 4 foundation of mindfulness, then the maturity of 7 factors of enlightenment, and then Nibbida and Viraga and Nibbida, and the enlightenment, Nirvana. So you can reach to each level of those wonderful enlightened state if you take the necessary step for Anapanasati and understand the step of Anapanasati very well. With regard to Meghiya Sutta, we have certain things like you should complete your Sila section into a considerable level. Without Sila, such as how to talk, how to manage your physical activities, and what you think and how you think in the basis level, those are related to Sila. And then you have to have Kalyana Mitra Sevana, Saddhamma Savana, and then practicing your word, Dasakata in Pali. We have to have Apichakata, Santuttikata, and so forth. And then we have to increase our energy level. I'm not talking about the physical energy, but the spiritual energy to hold your mindfulness and other important ways of reflection without dying. There should be a mental energy, Viriya, we call it in Sattabojjhanga, and Samma Vayama in Noble Eightfold Path. Then Uddayattagamini Panya. It should be practicing always. Uddayattagamini Panya, which means you see things have a beginning as well as end, and when you observe each physical and mental phenomena within and outside, you see this arising and passing nature of everything. So when you practice according to Meghiya Sutta, you are qualified to practice Anapanasati. If I do not address this very much, you can ask cross questions. And when we come to Anapanasati in the real practice, we have, actually it is in Satipatthana. What is it? Atapi sampajano satima vinai loke. You have to see whether you have mindfulness, what do you call sati, and sammaditthi, and also sammavayama present there in your reflection, right? Atapi sampajano satima. This is relevant to anapanasati as well. So when you practice those preparatory meditation for a certain period of time in unison, you now get into anapanasati, it would be very easy for you to bring your attention to the in and out breathing. So that your mind is centered on the breath, and then that mental energy, spiritual energy, virya is there to keep our mind on breath as the karmasthana, and you see this breath is having uppado panya samude dhammanupassiva, vaya dhammanupassiva. You see the breath is rising and passing always. In a average level, you see it as a cycle, but when you come to develop or advanced stage of anapanasati, you see it as you know, some units that has you know, type of separation between each breath, so that you are going to consider that if this breath is breaking apart, what happened to the rest of the process? The breath is going in, and the whole body is functioning according to the level of breath, and the senses are working because of some elements like you know, breathing and the consciousness and the karma and everything. So in a short while, the experienced meditator come into both samatha and vipassana with the anapanasati. I think anapanasati meditation in that regard is a combination of samatha and vipassana. So if I do not answer, if I did not answer your question as you wish, please talk
in
again.
In short, may I take the third step as asavakya? Third step of
you mean
Anapanasati.
you mean the third tetra of anapanasati?
Third steps of the Anapana. The first two steps as samatha.
Oh, you would say you can, because the first tetra we talked about the length of the breath, and I would say digang vasanto, rasang vasanto, passambayang kaya sankarang, kaya parisangvi. They are all about seeing the breath as it is. So only this first tetra is found in the Satipatthana, just because you become mindful of some physical aspect. Yeah, I would say with the first tetra, according to our practice, we can reach into first jhana, I would say, because your mind is in tune with the in-breath and out-breath completely, so that you see these without any problem, which means the 5 hindrances are gone, so that those first jhanic qualities are present in your mind. And when you come to piti patisangvedi, sukha patisangvedi, passambayan chitta sankarang, and chitta patisangvedi, you are dealing with feelings. Piti, sukha are regarded as feeling. So your experience is advanced now. Yeah, when you come to the third tetra, they are all about chittanupassana. Chitta patisangvedi, abhipamodayan chittang, samadhan chittang, vimochayan chittang. A sort of mental investigation is done in a dramatical way, in a deep way. However, could be if we analyze in a long with examples and also with deep dhamma, but with the fourth tetra you see aniccanupassi. In order to attain to a certain level of enlightenment, either Sotapanna or Sakadagami or Anagami, you have to see the impermanence of what you are focusing. So in the fourth tetra, we find these Aniccanupassi, Viraganupassi, Nirodhanupassi, Patinisagganupassi. What do these things mean? Aniccanupassi means you see the inconsistency of the breath, the body, the feeling, the mind, so-called mental creation, and so forth. So that, in other words, you have been practicing fully those four foundations of mindfulness, and the maturity of Samaditi is there with important qualities. That's why you are going to break those defiled states. In short, I would say that, when you come to the third tetra of Anapanasati, either you are close to any enlightened state, depending on people. Some people still are not in enlightened state. We cannot say a very concrete idea that yes, but descriptively, for some people it could be, for some people it may not be happening, because the fourth tetra talks about anicca, and when you see anicca, you are not going to attach to anything. You are going away from detachment. Viraga is appearing in your mind, and when you have experienced viraga, dispassion, you are going to cease those defiled state. And Patinisaga means now you are inclined into nirvana. So I think when you attain to Sotapanna, some sort of anicca, dukkha, anatta with regard to Anapanasati steps, type of viraga, nirodha is always there. So when we analyze, we can see that I think 50, or let's say 50%, 25% of each step should be completed for someone to attain Sotapanna. I would say it again. There are 4 tetras in Anapanasati. If you want to attain to Sotapanna by doing Anapanasati, I think 25% of each tetra should be completed according to the Dhamma, and to attain Sakadagami, it would be 50 of each tetra, to Anagami level 75%. And if you complete the Anapanasati training, which means you have then completed the 4 foundation, and also 7 factors of enlightenment, Vijja and Vimutti are also very clear to you. So you are going to attain full enlightenment. So from one side, you practice these steps of Anapanasati. At the same time, the other important Dhamma elements are gathered in your mind. So as a short answer, I would say yes or no. But with regard to explanation with other elements, we can see clearly that, some people can, some people do not, because we cannot see that each people have different same characteristics. Some people need more training on certain things. I experienced from today's monks and lay people, some people can meditate directly with Chittanupassana. Some people do not want to begin with the first tetra. For example, Venerable Sariputta, he was very keen to meditate on Vedana. So if Venerable Sariputta were to take Anapanasati, even though he advised Venerable Sariputta, he could begin even from the middle of it, depending on your character. I used to meditate on Anapanasati with impermanence. I find it easy to go with. As soon as I sit for Anapanasati, I see the breath is as only air elements, and the nostril and the whole body is earth property and water and heat, so that I see this body as only 4 elements, and then I see the breath. So from impersonal way of observation, you can begin your meditation, so that Anapanasati is being practiced as Yuganat. Both vehicles have been addressed together. So that's what I can tell you about the question.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Bhante.
much for the questions. Anyway.
Thank you, Bhante. What prompted me to ask this question was I had noted in the Mahamalukya Sutta, which says, through the first jhana itself, you can attain Nibbana.
Yes. And even Attakanagara Sutta, where that person came to Venerable Ananda. Venerable Ananda also said that you can attain to enlightenment by attaining the first jhana. There you have to investigate the jhanic mind as anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So yes, you're right. Because this is a complete set of teaching, so that the trainers on Anapanasati might experience its stages. Because on the other side of Anapanasati, you have been completing the 4 foundation of mindfulness. So anicca anupassi, viraga anupassi, nirodha anupassi, patinissagga anupassi means you have been addressing the dhammanupassana of the satipatthana.
Yes.
So yeah, what you where you think of is very clear now. So yes, indeed, why not we can think of which tetra is taking to which state. Actually, yes, what I said at the beginning, if you practice first tetra, the digangva asasanto, digangva pasanto, rassangva asanto, rassangva pasanto, sabbakaya patisangvedi pasan, you are in the first jhana. So when you are in the first jhana, with the practice of first tetra of the Anapanasati, now you also complete the training on feeling and mind and also mental state there, because you consider these peaceful mental states you have now as anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So according to the Dhamma, according to Anapanasati Sutta, you can practice first tetra and merge with the other 3 tetras. They are inside the first tetra. So in
that is samatha and vipassana both together.
Yeah.
Is it?
Right. Indeed. So suppose you practice the first tetra, as we said, and feel that you are in the first jhana. So there you can add vipassana too, right? When you, as you said in Malukya Putta Sutta, and as I said in Attakanagara Sutta, suppose we are both in first jhana.
Yes, sir.
So suppose we take it by just looking at the breath as it is in a normal and way. So now we somehow managed to overcome 5 hindrances. So now we both are keen to reflect the vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekagata, the 5 qualities of the first jhana as impermanent, anicca, dukkha, and also anatta. So now it's vipassana, inside meditation is being done there. So without going to piti, sukha, and also chitta and anicca, anupassi, and so we mix them together and reflect there. So yes, we can, because not all the monks and nuns in the past during time of the Buddha meditated on Anapanasati to attain enlightenment. Some people take part of it and train their mind into those enlightened states. But what we are focusing is Anapanasati is a complete menu for enlightenment, for all the qualities of nirvana. And those who have been practicing Anapanasati reach to nirvana with all the qualities, with all qualification. In Anapanasati Sangyutta of the Sangyutta Nikaya, Buddha talks about the power of concentration of Anuruddha, Venerable Anuruddha, because he had practiced Anapanasati always, so that his samadhi is so steady, and still, so Buddha has given such a wonderful place for Anapanasati samadhi. In 2 or 3 suttas, Buddha talks about Anapanasati as Tathagata Viharana, Brahma Vihara, Tathagata Ranjita. So Buddha never give such an emphasis on other meditation, but Anapanasati, because he also practiced Anapanasati under the Bodhi tree to attain enlightenment, according to some discourses in Majjhima Nikaya. So that this Anapanasati is a complete menu for enlightenment, but some monks and nuns and even lay people did not practice Anapanasati as a meditation subject to get into enlightenment. But the essence of Anapanasati meditation came to them and come to us despite the meditation subject, because Dhamma is such that every elements of the 37 factors of enlightenment come to us when we attain to full enlightenment.
Thank you, Bhante. It's very clear, and that was a very great explanation. Thank you. Thiruvan Saranai.
So it's 9:30 now. I'll be having another Dhamma sermon in 1 hour today, so that I should get ready for that. And tomorrow I have a day-long program for Bak full moon for a day. So I would like to end today's sutta discussion. We discussed not half, I think 70% of Maharahulwada Sutta, the Sutta number 62 of Majjhima Nikaya. If you haven't read it, please read it. It's very simple to follow. So we'll meet you again next week at 8 p.m. in Canadian time. And I would, we all enjoy the Dhamma next week with the rest of the discourse. Basically, next week Sutta discussion would be about those 16 steps of Anapanasati, as the Buddha said to Venerable Rahul. So friends, thank you for coming. I mean, among many other things on your shoulder, you took this 1.5 hours for your well-being and happiness. And I believe you practice the Dhamma in such a way so that you can deal with anything and everything according to the Dhamma. And may these merits be with you and your family members, children, grandchildren, friends and relatives. And may they also benefit from you and from your Dhamma experience. And finally, may these blessings be with you to complete your training on Saddhamma. May you attain Nirvana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.